It started with a thick envelope in my mailbox that looked too clean to be junk. No return address. No stamp I recognized. Inside was a printed puzzle, simple, almost childish, and a note that said, "Solve. Then check your spam." I solved it fast because it felt easy, because it felt like a game. In my spam folder was an email titled, "Level 1 Complete." It contained one line that made my stomach drop, because it referenced a small shameful thing from years ago, something I'd never told anyone. My fingers went cold. The puzzle hadn't unlocked a clue. It had unlocked me. The next envelope came the next day, like whoever sent it assumed I'd continue. It included a cheap metal key taped inside. The puzzle solved into directions, library aisle numbers, shelf codes. When I followed them, I found a lockbox hidden behind old books, and the key opened it like it belonged there. Inside was a flash drive labeled with my full name. When I plugged it in at home, I found files I didn't know existed, screenshots, private videos, fragments of my past collected like trophies. I slammed the laptop shut, not because it removed the fear, but because it delayed it. By the third level, the game stopped pretending to be harmless. It added rules. If I solved, I learned. If I refused, someone else learned for me. If I told anyone, the game chose what they learned. It wasn't threatening violence. It didn't need to. It used embarrassment like a weapon and control like a leash. The puzzles were designed to pull me forward while the rules kept me isolated. The next puzzle led to a blank website that demanded I type the name I hated hearing most. A childhood nickname I hadn't heard in years. I typed it with shaking hands and the game rewarded me by dumping humiliating old search history and forgotten fragments of my life onto my screen. Then it added a message that felt like it could see inside my brain, that I learned to hide early, and I still believed hiding made me safe. The scariest part wasn't that it knew. The scariest part was that it was right. The game escalated when it brought my friend into it. A puzzle pointed to her saved photos. A message arrived saying she wasn't as clean as I thought. It sent a screenshot of her venting about me to someone else months ago. The secret wasn't huge. That's why it hurt. It made me doubt her. It made me feel alone. I realized the game didn't just expose secrets, it reshaped relationships using truth like a knife. After that, I became obsessed with what might exist about me. I checked old chats, scrolled my past, hunted for landmines. The game rewarded my paranoia with another puzzle that led to a box under my bed filled with objects from my childhood, things I thought were gone. At the bottom was a blank notebook and a command, "Write what you don't want anyone to know." I didn't write. I couldn't. Because the game wasn't satisfied with collecting old secrets. It wanted me to create new ones for it. Then the game offered money. A reward for continuing. Real currency displayed on the app like a prize. It felt like a trap because it made me complicit. It made participating feel like choosing. And it terrified me how quickly my brain considered taking it. The game knew I wanted relief, and it wrapped that relief in the shape of a reward. I tried to quit. I blocked numbers. Deleted apps. Changed passwords. The game waited, then moved sideways, towards someone else. My friend received a message containing a private secret and a line that blamed me for stopping. That's when I understood, quitting didn't end the harm. It redistributed it. The game had built a system where my empathy became a trap. The app added a leaderboard, names, levels, completion percentages, turning shame into competition. That's how it spread, by turning fear into a race. I saw my friend's old username listed there at level 1, proof she'd been pulled in too. The game didn't just target individuals. It targeted communities by isolating them, then ranking them. The next puzzle demanded honesty. It refused wrong answers. It turned my emotional blanks into a confession letter draft addressed to my friend, ready to send. 2 buttons, send, or solve another puzzle to delete. The game wasn't only exposing me, it was trying to make me participate in exposing myself. It wanted me to feel like the humiliation was my choice. A crossword puzzle spelled basement, leading me to a hidden room in my building with a laptop running the app and walls covered in sticky notes filled with other people's secrets. It looked like a museum built out of shame. The game wasn't just digital. Someone had made a physical place for it. That meant someone close had hands, keys, and time. For a moment, the messages became emotional. Stop making sound. You're doing well. It sounded less like a program and more like a person behind the curtain losing patience. On the laptop screen, I saw my name listed with traits: high compliance, prone to guilt, feels responsible for others. It wasn't just collecting my secrets. It was studying how to control me. The game demanded I confront my friend, to make her admit something painful. It tried to force me to hurt her in order to progress. That's when fear turned into anger. I turned my phone off completely because I realized the final level wasn't a puzzle. It was a choice about who I was willing to become. I went to a teacher who took me seriously. I showed evidence. She didn't laugh. She didn't call it drama. She called it serious. But the game punished me immediately by choosing my friend's secret and pushing it into a group chat. My friend cried in the library, humiliated, and I felt sick with guilt. Then she did something I didn't expect. She held my hand and said, "We don't play alone." And for the first time, the game's rules felt breakable at her house. We stopped playing and started documenting. Screenshots, recordings, times, patterns. The game sent a message complaining that togetherness was cheating. That's how we knew we'd found its weakness. Isolation was the fuel. Connection was the antidote. The game offered a clean slate if I typed my most used password. It wasn't trying to erase secrets. It was trying to get deeper access. It dressed itself like forgiveness, but it was just hunger. We didn't give it what it wanted. We handed more evidence to adults who could move in ways we couldn't. A live camera feed appeared on my phone showing my own hallway. Someone in a hoodie placed an envelope on my doormat like a performance. The message, "No more adults." Final level. It wanted to scare me back into isolation by proving it could reach my real life whenever it wanted. The final puzzle was a blank page demanding I write a secret it didn't already know. My friend and I refused. When we held it to the light, we saw an imprint, instructions for manipulating players, using shame and friends and family as leverage. It wasn't a game. It was a method. We photographed it, printed it, and handed it over as evidence. The game didn't vanish instantly. Real life is slower than fear. But it got quieter. It relies on silence, embarrassment, isolation. Once people compared notes and adults took it seriously, the game began to starve. The last message I received was simple: "You ruined it." I replied, "Good," blocked it, and handed my phone to the teacher like she asked months later. The fear lingered in habits, checking spam, flinching at unknown numbers. But something else lingered too, the knowledge that secrets only rot in isolation. The game tried to turn shame into a cage. The way out wasn't solving faster. It was refusing to be alone. I found the blank notebook the game left and finally wrote something true, that I was scared, and I didn't want to be alone. That asking for help saved me. That was the last puzzle. Not one the game designed, one I solved for myself.